Hey everybody, the average price of a used car jumped up big time. We're now at $29,000, the average price for a used car here in the United States. Hey everybody, my name is Jason. You're watching Bull Boom Bear Bust. Let's get into the news on the used car prices. We're going to talk about where prices are headed in 2022. Do we expect a correction or a pullback? No, prices are going to continue to rise. We're going to tell you why. First, let's get into this article. And this was widely reported, but this particular article is out of US News. $29,000 for an average used cars. Buyers are aghast. Now, with the over $29,000 price tag for the typical used car, that makes vehicle prices now 39% higher than they were just 1 year ago. 39%. And they're telling us that the inflation, that the average, or that the official inflation number is less than 7%. Well, we know that's not true. And it would really be nice if the official inflation number included things like housing, which would include rent, energy, the price of cars and trucks. But no, they just conveniently take those out of the statistics that they use to compute the rising prices and inflation. Therefore, they don't have to give out as much Social Security for the cost of living. You see how that works? And also they can justify keeping interest rates lower for a longer period of time because they'll just point to a false inflation number and say, oh, it's not that bad. Look, it's less than 7%. But reality is used car prices up almost 40% year over year. Now, that's not true for all makes and models, but that is the average. Let's go back to this article again here. A car dealer that's been in the business for 35 years said the following, quote, "I've never seen anything remotely close to this. It's craziness." And he continued, "It's quite frustrating for so many people right now." Now, the car dealer continued, quote, "We're not seeing any softening in prices, which is extremely rare for this time of year," unquote. All right, just like the housing market, the sales of automobiles typically jump up in the summertime, spring, summer, but in the wintertime they slow down for obvious reasons, the weather being a big part of it. This year, this time, no summer or no winter slowdown. In this case, demand is still up there because of the shortage of inventory. So what's going to happen in 2022? Will the chip shortage, will the supply chain issues be resolved in 2022? The short answer is no. Let's go ahead and give you some further backstory behind that. And for this one, let's go over to the drive. Yes, it says here the chip shortage will still screw the auto industry in 2022. And the bottom line is we do not have enough chip manufacturers here in the US. So this should be a valuable lesson to, as an individual and as a country, to try to be more self-sufficient. We've probably heard the saying, if you want something right, do it yourself, or if you want something done right, do it yourself. In this case, if you want something done at all, do it yourself. If you want to continue to rely on other countries to do your manufacturing for you, then this is the end result. For many years, it was wonderful for many people to get cheap items shipped in, made in countries with much lower cost of living and much lower wages that they could pay the people. Therefore, we got cheap stuff for a long, long time. And that might have been, it might have felt nice to go to Walmart and pay a fraction of what you would have paid if it was made here in the US. But now the chickens have come home to roost. It's time to pay the piper. Something always happens. If something bad can happen, it will. And that's not just a negative attitude. That's just reality. And it's a saying that's been around for many years, not just until, didn't just come up here in the last couple of years. There's a saying that says if something bad will happen or if something can go wrong, it will. So you always need to prepare for something that's going to go wrong. And things have gone wrong with the supply chain. We've got the health crisis ongoing. And the country that makes the most vehicles now, we have a surge over there in the health crisis that's going to further dampen manufacturing. And guess what? That's going to be another push. It's going to push prices even higher. Let's talk about the manufacturing of automobiles. globally. I've got this for you here. This is a Wikipedia article. It goes back over 10 years, but we're going to go back to 2010. Now, we don't have the numbers for 2021 yet, but as you can see over the years, manufacturing here in the U.S. has declined. And if you go back even further, decades ago, the U.S. was at one point the #1 manufacturing nation for automobiles. And if we look back at 2010, we see at that time we did about 7.7 million vehicles, and it was about 18 million in China, which is the #1 manufacturer now in the world. So they a little more than doubled us back then. The most recent year that we have data for, 2020, we did about 8.8 million, and China 25 million. So now China, as of 2020, is triple the output of U.S. manufacturing. So we went from 7.7 million to 8.8. China went from 18 million to 25 million vehicles manufactured in a year. Right? So now with the ongoing health crisis, what's going to happen? Further supply disruptions, shortages, and we are not seeing a big surge in manufacturing of chips and automobiles here in the U.S. And in fact, a result of that is the fact that GM is no longer the #1 selling make of vehicle. So GM this year just lost its crown. Let's take a look at this article. And this is out of The Verge. Chip shortage cost GM the U.S. vehicle sales crown it's held since 1931. 1931. So nearly 90 years GM held the crown. Now it is Toyota. And this was tweeted out a couple days ago. CNBC, Toyota dethrones GM to become America's top-selling automaker 2021. Now, Toyota, which is manufactured in Japan, they've had also chip issues and shortages, just not as bad as we've had here in the U.S. because Japan manufactures more chips. And we see supply chains not as bad over in Asia because more chips are manufactured over there. We have Taiwan, the #1 manufacturer of chips. Will the U.S. step its game up for chip manufacturing? It's very unlikely because companies are rather going to choose lower cost of living countries to open up shop because they don't have to pay as much. It should be obvious to anyone that's ever ran a business, or just look at the bottom line. Companies want to make money. They're going to go where the labor's the cheapest. And actually the United States, we're still lucky to be #2 in the world as far as automobile manufacturing, considering the high cost of living that we have here, and considering that there's always going to be a push for companies to pay more in the U.S. to keep up with these rising prices, the rising cost of living. And going back to this chart here, we see Japan is a close third, less than 1 million behind the U.S. And it's my guess here that 2021, when those numbers come out, and then this year, that Japan is going to overtake the U.S. for the second spot in the world as far as manufacturing automobiles. All right, so the big picture on this, I do not see any stoppage or slowdown of the price increases. Hopefully we don't see another 39% rise in automobiles. That would be pretty bad. And it's a tough time for a lot of people that are considering waiting or making a purchase right now. People are on the fence about it, including myself. If you don't buy now and they rise another 39%, you wish you would have bought. But then other people are holding cash. They say at some point this is going to be solved. If you think it's going to be solved, if you think the prices are going to start coming down, please let us know why down in comments. Let us know your thoughts either way. Hope you guys enjoyed this report. Vehicle prices going to continue to rise, and not much hope on the horizon as far as getting lower prices. What that's going to mean is more debt, and banks have to lend out more money and loosen the lending guidelines. Thanks for watching this report. Big love. Hope you're well. Bye for now. Peace.